afternoon and welcome to the July 21st, 2025 meeting of the Westport Board of Health, which I'm calling to order under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F. This meeting is being recorded, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on in the agenda to the written report from Matt Armendo, our director. Any questions? I'm assuming that we'll go through some details in your verbal report. So, but any other?
I have none.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, so the on-call ACO position has been posted with Able and Associates, and I have an interview Wednesday morning at 9 with a possible candidate, so I'll keep the board up to date on how that goes. We all know Gabby. She had left the collaborative and has taken a position with the town of Marion Board of Health, and you know that's horrible for us, but good for Marion. Picked up a good.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
She was a great asset to the town while she was
Yeah.
The American Public Health Association and other medical professional societies are suing the the Health and Human Services for unlawful vaccine changes. On July 7th, the APHA filed a lawsuit defending vaccine policy, along with the American Academy of Pediatrics, American College of Physicians, Infectious Diseases Society of America, Massachusetts Public Health Alliance, and the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine. The Director of the Health and Human Services, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s unilateral vaccine changes, unjust firing of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, appointment of individuals with anti-vaccine viewpoints to the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, and steady drumbeat of vaccine myths and disinformation represent an imminent danger to the nation's public health. These actions are designed to undermine more than a half a century of vaccine policy and erode public confidence. So, I don't think we need to discuss that. I think it.
I don't know we discussed it, but I'm very glad to see people who have worked in the field for years, who have expertise in the field, to challenge the current policies that are being put in place.
Yeah, it makes our jobs harder.
Makes it much harder to help keep the public health.
Okay, the South Coast Public Health Collaborative has posted its fiscal year 25 annual report on its webpage. Just some of the fiscal year 25 highlights include health communications, training and professional development in environmental health and shared services. The full report can be found on the South Coast Public Health Collaborative webpage. MEMA has a hurricane tabletop exercise, which I put a copy of Chief Baldwin's email into the packet. So if any of the board members want to sign up for that, the information is there on how to do that.
Do you know if there's a limit on how many of us can go? Because I would like to be part of that.
There was no limit expressed to me when I talked to the chief about this.
Right. And I wasn't sure if Phil wanted to be part of that as well. Phil, do you have any thoughts about that? About being part of the tabletop?
Were you planning to attend?
Yeah.
Okay. But did I understand that if anyone of us wanted to attend, could also attend?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, because if there's more than one of us, then it's considered a quorum, right? So I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Unless I'm going as a citizen instead of a.
yeah. If Phil, you decide to go, just for safety's sake, I would just have Nancy posted. So that there's no question, because people can get squirrely about stuff like that, even though it's not a Board of Health meeting, you're not making Board of Health policy decisions there, you're just giving input to.
Yeah, and my concern or my point about that is that I went to a climate resiliency committee meeting with Phil, and I suggested that we have something like this. And it's being done. I don't know if it's because I suggested it or it was already in the works, but I really think it's an important process for the Board of Health to be a part of, as we would be part of the emergency disaster support if there was anything that happened in town.
Well, clearly, disaster preparedness and support, sort of the federal infrastructure for that is changing and putting more of the burden on states and individuals. So we're all responsible for getting ourselves prepared better. So I think this is a really important topic. I agree. So that is on August 12th, 2025 at the fire department all morning. Okay. So just, Phil, if you decide to go, just let Nancy know so she can post. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
A new storage shed has been purchased using the state earmark funds that we received from Senator Rodericks. The picture of that shed is up and looks nice. And then on July 8th, we were awarded $6,109 from Reworld CMAS for the purchase of a new universal waste shed, and that's where we, take the mercury products in and all that. And the copy of the letter was part of the packet. So. And that's been ordered and will be in place the last week of the month.
Great. So looking even better down at the transfer station.
Right.
Including with all the other improvements from the funds supported by Senator Rodericks. That's great. Okay, anything else?
Not on that report.
Okay, then we'll move on to Director Approved Septic Plan.
Sure, we have a one-bedroom ADU being constructed at 17 Riverview Drive for Brad Gifford on a 54,180 square foot lot. It's been through Concom, and I believe this is one that's going to have a one-bedroom septic. In addition, the house has its own septic system for the house.
Oh, okay.
But everything was looking good there. We have a 3-bedroom repair on 50 Cross Road on an 18-acre lot for a John Montano using a Presby, and it's been through Concom. We have a 3-bedroom repair on a 7.4-acre lot at 832 Main Road for a Kevin Candias, utilizing a Quick 4, and it's been through Concom. And we have a 4-bedroom repair on a 40,200 square foot lot at 106 Highland Ave for a John and Eileen DuPont, and it's been through Concom, utilizing a Presby system.
And that doesn't need a deed restriction, it's just enough, right?
Right.
Okay. When I was entering these in the septic database, there's one of them that was an unknown, so we crossed one more unknown off our list. I forget which one it was, but okay. Any questions on the plans?
I have none, so I move to endorse the director approved plans.
Second.
All in favor? It's unanimous. That's for 17 Riverview Drive, 50 Cross Road, 832 Main Road, and 106 Highland Avenue. Okay, moving on to the minutes from the July 7th meeting. Regular meeting. Any questions or concerns about those minutes?
I have none.
No, I'm good.
All right, so I move that we approve the minutes for July 7th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, starting under other business, 124 Tickle Road septic design discussion. I'm gonna open it for you, Matt.
Sure. Bill Smith, the engineer, is here as well.
Okay, sure, come on forward.
Perfect.
Right there, is great. It's informal. We're all informal.
Good afternoon.
Do you want Bill to run down the outline? You want me-
Sure, Bill, why don't you start first?
The property is on 124 Tickle Road. My client is Jason Martin. There's an existing 3-bedroom home there. What they'd like to do is remodel the existing home, create a 2-bedroom home. They would also like to add a separate 1-bedroom ADU. It's in the Mount Hope watershed, and he was hoping to be able to do that as a conventional system. And we just want the board's input and direction on that before we started designing a system for him. We're not increasing the number of bedrooms, but there is new construction that's associated with the project.
Right, so it's a 20,000 square foot lot.
Right.
And what was the original design for?
I could not find the original design, so it's an old system, and it's, again, he's willing to replace the system, just the preference would be if he could do it as a conventional system, that would be desirable.
So it would be, I just to clarify what we did, so it would be an upgraded system for the existing house and the ADU?
Correct.
Okay,
And we'll keep the number of bedrooms at 3.
okay.
Just we're going to shuffle them around a little bit.
Okay. And I just wonder if you had any well data information, well tested information, which is sometimes.
I don't at this point.
Okay,
He approached me last week. I approached
okay,
Matt, and then kind of it moved pretty quickly to this point.
okay.
Yeah, so this is, we don't know at this point if you need any local upgrade approvals, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me turn it to Matt first before I dive into my questions, further questions.
So I just had some notes that were typed in the bottom of the email. So just, the lot is only sized for 2 bedrooms. If decommissioning a bedroom, should we allow that 3rd bedroom back if they're going to decommission a bedroom? And if the current system is designed for 3 bedrooms, is the system failed, Bill?
It isn't failed,
Okay,
but I think it's marginal.
okay.
So his intention was to replace that with an upgraded system.
And the lot is undersized now for 3 bedrooms. Do we require D9? There were just some questions about this. That
So we
came
don't
to
know
mind.
how far it is from the well or anything like that. We don't know well data. And we know, refresh my memory on nitrogen loading limitations. Does that only apply to new construction? Is that the?
It applies to, yeah, so if it's an upgrade, increase in flow, it would apply.
Yeah.
If it's brand new construction, it would apply, but it doesn't apply to repairs.
Okay, but we don't know what the design flow was for the original septic system since you can't find a plan.
Right.
So we can't confirm that there's not an increase in design flow.
Yeah, the property's old. I don't think there was anything in the file.
Right. Mr. Smith couldn't find any. So I'm kind of squirrely about not requiring D9, especially if we don't have we don't know yet how far it is from the well. We don't have well data. It's only 20,000 square feet. That makes me a little uncomfortable.
I think we will have enough room to maintain 100 feet between the system and any wells, just by nature of the lot is fairly long and linear.
Oh, okay.
But again,
Yeah.
I haven't done the topo yet and got all
Right.
that information. information.
And you don't know about butter wells either then?
We'll certainly
You will,
gather
of
that
course,
information.
I'm not, but I mean, for our information
Not-
to try
not at
to
this
give you
moment.
guidance at this point,
Correct.
we're sort of, we don't have a lot of key information that we want to have,
So,
so.
Maybe we defer the decision until I get some more information. Worst case is I gotta put an advanced treatment system or D-night system anyways. Let me pull together the pertinent information and then, if we can make it all work, then I'll bring it back before the board. You can give me some direction.
Okay.
well, I mean, conceptually, we're treating this as an upgrade which would be subject to our maximum feasible compliance rule. Is that how we're thinking about it?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna treat it as an upgrade or an upgrade with an increase in flow. Or
Right.
from the standpoint, it's gonna have an independent ADU, is,
That's new construction.
its new construction will require D-night because of that, or because it's an existing three-bedroom septic, is the board gonna, not go down that road? I don't know.
Well, we don't know that, we don't have any confirmation that it is a three-bedroom septic design.
But if there's gonna be,
It says 3 bedrooms and it is built in 67.
so it's a three-bedroom house now, and he's proposing to install a three-bedroom upgraded system. Why wouldn't we just, where's the increase in flow? Because we don't actually know what the existing system was designed for?
That and it,
Well, I don't-
yeah, that's what I'm asking the board is, the what,
To me, that's, I don't feel, for me, I don't feel the need to know what the existing design was for, in the sense that whoever put the system in didn't build it big enough for 3 bedrooms, but, which I assume would mean like digging it up and measuring it. It seems to me that he has a 3-bedroom house. All he's doing is upgrading that system, except he's just breaking out 1 bedroom separate from the existing home. So I would just treat it as an upgrade and apply, I mean, that's my opinion, just a maximum feasible compliance, which, are you familiar with that process a little bit?
Honestly, not much.
Okay, well, I mean, so we look at the well data to see if, you have high concentrations of nitrogen in the well over 5. We look at whether the well is up gradient or down gradient of the system, the SAS. We look at what the cost of the system is in relation to the assessed value of the property. And there's a form that you go through
Okay.
to do that. And then we, based on that, make a judgment call as to whether or not we think this is an appropriate situation. And it really, particularly on smaller lots, it is if, because if this was a new construction, you'd be subject to the nitrogen loading limits, okay? And so this is taking the principle that even though it's not new construction, you should design a system that's maximally feasible compliant, and so that's how DEP policy and then our policy, as we expanded upon it, that's the criteria that we look at. And it's all in a form, and Matt can walk you through it.
yeah, well,
Anyway, that's how I think about it.
Before we go there, are you saying you don't believe that building a standalone ADU is new construction?
Yes, standalone ADUs are not new construction by DEP. It's all considered one facility. The property is, this was a question that was hanging out there. And I think what DEP made clear is that you treat the property as a whole as a facility. And if you, and so as long as all the sources of, all the flow from all the dwellings is equivalent to the existing flow, it is not new construction.
Okay.
That's how I understand DEP's policy.
It is, it's just that the new construction of the building conflicts with our local reg.
Yeah, but
Because the increase in design flow, that's why I'm asking what the original design flow was, because that does trigger the new construction definition.
Well, but there's no record of that in our files.
No.
So
The only
I
record-
think that is, it's a dead-end question,
Mhm.
I think. And there is a conflict on its face with, well, it actually isn't. Both our regulations, both the DEP definition of new construction and our definition of new construction is the same. And I thought it was a problem, like, what's the answer to this? And how DEP answered that is that there is a definition in Title V that's called the facility. What's the facility? And in this case, as I read it, and they treat the lot as a facility. And if you built if you said, I'm going to go to a one-bedroom house and build 2 ADUs, it doesn't matter, because it's three bedrooms.
Mhm. Okay.
And that's how they get around it, because otherwise, everybody would have to be building D-night systems for a single bedroom, or, because you have to build them, you actually have to build, right, a 2-bedroom.
Well, that's how they got around that rule,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they got around the rules by the facility. They said,
Yeah,
because previously you couldn't build a one-bedroom septic system. But now you can, as long as there's another system on the site that's either 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom, you just add them together and just take that number, and it's greater than, 2 or more bedrooms generally.
well, this is different because it's going into one system,
Right.
right? It may be a little bit different if you say, I want to build a completely separate
Right.
system. Then I think we might be, and DEP might be, and it's okay, well, that is new construction because you have 2 separate systems.
Okay.
It's more looking at one system for all the sources, count the number of bedrooms. That's how I see it.
Okay, so then, if we're pursuing the maximum feasible compliance approach to addressing this, then the key criteria will be the well distance and well results.
Generally, we don't pursue water analysis unless the well's less than 100 feet. Now, we don't do it based on lot size. We haven't done that in a long time.
Right.
So if the well's less than 100 feet away, then we would
Right.
do the water analysis and all that for the lot. So we'll just have to wait to see what Bill comes back with on
Yeah,
that.
and we have to- I mean, it may be, if it's long and narrow, the abutters may be an issue, so.
All right.
Okay,
I'll gather some information. Thank you for clarifying that. It was a little fuzzy when Matt and I talked, and that's why I think you wanted to bring it before you for opinion.
Okay, so you can follow up with Matt.
Okay.
once you have
Sure.
more information.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, we have 5 minutes before our first appointment, so let's do the next agenda item, which is, we have seen the proposed amendment to Matt's contract. It's sort of fixing up some problems that came to light around allocation between his base salary and the stipend for the
Yeah.
PHE
Mhm.
grant. Any questions on that?
No.
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 So I move to approve the Director of Public Health contract amendment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
And have your discussions with the appropriate people since this came up on a previous agenda, is that removed?
We'll find out tonight.
Oh, okay, okay, so it's up in the air. Okay, all right. Do you want, is it important that we all show up?
Leave that tonight, I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think
Okay.
we're hoping it will be
Smooth.
smooth, but.
Good, all right.
Okay, you know, the semi-annual testing requirements for nitrogen-reducing systems discussion, I put that on the agenda. It had come up recently in, I forget where, what context. And I wanted to revisit that, but I'm thinking we should have a working meeting because we need to revisit a number of things where there's sort of a mismatch between the workload in the office and what we can do. And so prioritizing sort of our key things. I think my inclination is on this one, after the first 2 years of twice a year, that we drop it either entirely or unless there's some wacky numbers or something. I don't know if there's some exception, but I think we need to simplify our lives, and it'll be good. You know, homeowners, I'm sure, will be happy about that too. But there's other things that sort of in the context of a larger discussion about what are our priorities and where do we want to put our energies, limited energies and staff resources. So I would suggest that we postpone the discussion for that and schedule a working meeting instead, where we broaden the discussion. There's not a super urgency to that, but
Do you want to schedule a working
if we
meeting?
want to schedule it now, we have a couple minutes before the first hearing, so we could do that now. I'd like to do it on off weeks between meetings, so either next week or the second week of August would be possibilities. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have, am I mistaken? Our next meeting is August 4th.
Yes.
Yes.
I have in my calendar that the next one after that is the 25th. That's not right though, is that?
No, it should be the 18th.
All right, I just messed up my calendar.
And then the one after the 18th falls on Labor Day.
Right, okay, so we could look at that as well. I'm around, I'm not going anywhere unfortunately. How soon do you want to shoot for the week of the 11th? August 11th, is that reasonable?
That seems okay to me right now.
Probably the Wednesday would work better for me, because Tuesdays kids, so.
The 13th?
And the 13th, 10 o'clock? Is that,
Okay.
does that work for you?
No, I'm off those 2 days, the 12th and the 13th.
So how about,
Monday, the 11th? Oh, no, you're off the 11th?
No.
Monday, the 11th?
maybe 11th?
Does that work?
Yeah, I think that should be okay.
Okay, then, what else?
I don't know if we want to, and this really relates, to a lot to Matt's work, but we want to be able to say anything more about the water regulation.
The well rig?
The well-
We really should start talking about that more because it's, there's some changes and everything else. We, if anything, we really should develop an application for that, especially with the electronic permitting coming down the line for us. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just suggesting that as an agenda item.
yeah, it's fine with me.
What time do we want to do a working meeting on the 11th?
I'm talking about 10 o'clock.
10?
10 to noon.
Okay.
probably.
All right.
Okay. All right, I know we didn't put it technically on the agenda, but Labor Day, well, I think I said, let's see how the workload is, and we could just maybe skip a meeting. That'd be wonderful. Otherwise, do you have Concom on Tuesday the 2nd?
I've been following,
So,
it's been tracking the same as the Board of Health. So I usually, I have back-to-back meetings, I have Monday, Tuesday meetings
okay.
twice a month.
Okay, well, how about we tentatively say Wednesday at 4 o'clock if needed, if there's agenda.
What day are you talking about?
Wednesday the 3rd as a replacement for Labor Day.
Wednesday the 3rd, okay.
Does that work?
You're talking about September?
September. Labor Day is September 1st.
Okay.
Just as a question mark, just hold
Okay.
it for
Okay.
now.
Question mark, okay.
And we'll revisit next meeting, just for.
Because the week after that, I'm in a conference from the 9th to the 12th, so.
Okay. All right, I think we're at 4:30, so we can call, Mr. Potter is here today, okay. We're gonna come back to board member updates after our appointments. Okay, I call the 4:30 variance hearing for 65E Cummings Lane by Joan O'Connor. This is a 2-bedroom repair with a stone bed on a 10,800 square foot lot. Potter representing. Good afternoon, Mr. Potter. I hope you had a successful fair. Back in action here.
Not somewhat. Anyway, this is Len Potter, Westport Environmental Design for Joseph O'Connor, 65E Cummings Lane. It's a 10,800 square foot lot. It's a 2-bedroom home. Existing cesspool to be removed. Install a Title V compliant leach field, 12 by 35, and that is the only variance needed is the well. Well, less than 100 feet, more than 50. Proposed distance is 80 feet. And the water test, I believe, came out satisfactory in regards to nitrates, 4.8, I believe.
I'll turn to Matt for his report.
Really, the best, it's a small site. And I did some measurements to see if the well could be pushed out 100 feet, but it's really not possible on the lot, so to get it 100 feet away. I don't think there's any much more you could do.
Okay. Since the well test results were good, we don't need to look at next. Any questions from the board?
None from me. So I move that we approve the plans for 65E Cummings Lane, owned by Joe O'Connor, dated 6/2/25 for a 2-bedroom repair with a variance of the well distance from the SAS of 80 feet. And the following conditions: a hold harmless, 2-bedroom deed restriction, Concom review.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the project at 65E Cummings Lane.
Did you say three years water testing?
No, I didn't say anything about water testing, did I?
Don't you have to test it
Oh.
all for 3
Yeah,
years?
3
I
years.
am sorry.
3 years.
3 years.
Thank you.
I call
Thank
you.
you.
I call you.
Yeah,
Thank
did.
you, Letty.
Yeah, she's usually the one that's on top
I
of that.
know.
That's all right.
I'm not perfect.
I'm not either. It's okay.
Okay, so just to reiterate, the conditions on the plan are 2-bedroom deed restriction, hold harmless, Concom review, and 3 years of well testing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Okay. we
Thanks, Lynn.
have,
See you in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes, right?
The next hearing is and we have 5 minutes before the next hearing, so let me start with board member updates with Donna.
I'm working on the health notes for the beginning of August on medications, the heat's impact on medications, and medications impact on people when the heat is high, so I'm working on that. And I am actually, for the opioid settlement fund advisory committee, where the new website for the town is not live yet, but I began training so that I could put the minutes and the agendas and have an opioid settlement fund advisory committee website or page on the website, yeah. And so that all that information, the abatement agreement, I posted on there so people can see what it's about. And I will be managing that as the chair of the opioid settlement fund advisory committee. I've asked Olive for some assistance when it comes to adding and downloading some other important information to go on the site, but I've begun that process. And I'm currently working on also the police night out, which is August 5th at 4 o'clock at the old high school, where the police will have a variety of educational things for the community, but the Opioid Settlement Fund Advisory Committee will also have a table. We're also going to be, I'm going to have something set up where I ask people for input, that they write down how do they want this money to be spent, and to see if they just could, because part of it is community input, and I want to get more community input on how the funds could be utilized. One of the things that we were talking about is what Dartmouth has done, and what Dartmouth has done is they've hired somebody. They've hired a specialist in addictions who's going to be kind of managing where the money goes and also looking at resources in the community. And so that's one of the things that we're kind of looking at. But my goal would be to have this person be working in the school department and in the town. That would be a role that if this select board would agree with something like that. But anyway, so the work continues on the opioid settlement funds. We have spent very little money, and we, again, I repeat this, are slated to receive $1 million by 2038. So we have some funds to spend to do some good in town.
Great. Thank you for your dedication and hard work on that. That's important. Okay, I know you have some longer agenda sort of updates
Yeah.
that you want to mention, so I'm going to hold off
Yeah, okay.
because you only have 2 minutes, and that's never enough for you, Phil. I will just mention something I've been meaning to get to. We received a clinical advisory from DPH around treatment, prophylactic or advanced sort of treatment for tick-borne, particularly Lyme disease, because it's been a banner year for ticks in all of southeastern Mass, and now DPH is advising that if you have had a tick embedded for the 24 to 36 hours, that it's entirely appropriate to get a prophylactic or preventative dose of doxycycline, and they're encouraging physicians and health professionals to look at that new guidance. So that I think that's important to get out there. I just haven't had a chance to put that in layperson terms so people are more aware of. I think a lot of people nowadays have a straight line to their doctor if they think they have risk of Lyme to get a doxycycline prescription, but I just want to get that out there. I just haven't had a chance to do something on that, so I will soon. Okay, I think we are close enough to 4:40 p.m. to call the hearing for 488 Old County Road. This is the Headtown Landing Store, a commercial repair with a maximum of 284 gallons per day, using a Presby and a Septitech D-Night system with Zenith Engineering representing.
Good morning, excuse me, good afternoon. For the record, Niall Zager from Zenith. So I'm here on behalf of Jimmy Aguilar. He unfortunately couldn't be here because he has a sick relative that he's attending to. So it was my understanding that I know there's been discussions had on this, multiple discussions had. I believe the plans have been updated to where they need to be, but that's why I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, well then we'll turn to Matt first. And we have a cover letter with the specific waiver requests that you're looking for, or upgrade approval, local upgrade approval request. You're looking for sieve analysis and the reduction of the setback between the proposed SAS and the private water supply well from 100 to 84 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, so Niles and I, we're going, we're back, for a few times, but everything is correct and, to where we asked, and just, for the record, we asked for the, to treat the project as repair rather than new construction, allow them to use a sieve analysis in lieu of a perk test, continue the current food service use, no expansion of any type, design the soil absorption system for a maximum flow of 284 gallons per day, require installation of a denitrification component, install a grease trap in accordance with Title V, Section 15230, and applicant is to contact DEP to see, determine if a public water supply designation is necessary. No expansion of the current food service operation, including additional bathrooms or seating, is permitted. So everything that I see on the plan indicates that they're in compliance with this list, with the exception is I don't know if anybody's contacted DEP about the public water supply. Yeah.
I'm not aware of that.
So that's something to ask the current owner or the applicant, I guess.
has there been any outreach to determine, to DEP to determine if you need a public water supply well? Do you know that?
Was not aware of that. We do the well testing every year, the first of the year when we do our permits. It's actually tested twice a year, once by ourselves and then once by the watershed across the street. That's all I knew that we were asked to do.
So that's something that the board had asked for back on May 13th when we sent this letter out.
Okay. Okay, well, let me backtrack to questions from the board, and then we can talk about conditions and how we may assure that occurs.
Yeah, I'm fine with the design and all that. I appreciate the cooperation that developed between you all and Matt to figure it all out. And, I'm glad for your business that it's all going to work out.
Yes.
So that's great. And I need to jump ahead. I think the question that I had, because it hasn't come up before. Usually when we have deed restrictions, it's based on the number of bedrooms, and it's pretty easy to track. You can go and look. And here, I don't know, and it seems to be there are two things that we're looking at. One is the gallons per day, which, and the second part, I didn't catch all the verbiage, but it's no additional seating or
Expansion or seating or bathrooms.
Right. So, so I don't know if what your idea of what might be a deed restriction would look at, would those conditions be recorded in a deed restriction, or is there some other mechanism put in the plan, I don't know if that's a condition that's in the plan, so when we approve the plan, it has those conditions in there?
It doesn't have all the conditions. It has, in the plan, it says it's designed for a maximum of 284 gallons per day.
Right.
I don't think it's in the plan with no expansion or anything like that. We didn't ask for that to be put in the plan in the notes, but we can ask that be put in, and that way the plan of record would have all those conditions in it. And I believe, because when Jim Aguirre came in, they were measuring the flow somehow, so that the property must be metered in order for them to measure the flow. So
Right.
that's what we would do periodically, is check on the flow and to make sure it's not exceeding the 284 gallons per
I mean, we did Weatherlow Farms way back. Were you here then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not for when the original agreement was done.
Yeah. Where we did a thing where they were restricted to a certain number of special events
Mhm.
because of issues around this. They didn't want to build an entire system that was on a regular basis, big enough to handle every, you know, and so, and I was a neophyte then, so I know that was a condition that was said. I don't know where it was recorded, but I'll shut up and see what you guys have to say.
I think it was just recorded internally. It wasn't recorded.
It was probably in the minutes or something
Yeah.
like that, but.
So are you saying that there should be something recorded that said there's a deed restriction for no increase in flow or no increase, no?
I'm asking the question because normally it's something we would do is somehow have a record of that. I don't think it could be in the plan. I don't know if deed restrictions, yeah, so I'm raising it. But it was central to what everybody worked out, the restrictions, so I just want it memorialized in a public way. So someone doing due diligence would be able to come and look at the plans, or, you know, and say, okay, you know, 2 decades from now when the store gets sold, and say, okay, now I understand what I'm buying.
Right, I think, as we know, there was a history of the last time the septic was repaired. In the minutes, we had, way before my time, but no change in use, and obviously there was change in use, and food service was added without, so minutes aren't gonna do the trick. So I think probably that adding notes to the plan would be the probably the easiest, because a deed restriction, I don't know how we write that.
You could do a deed restriction restricting the flow, like the 284 gallons a day, and record that, but I guess we could do up a deed restriction with all these conditions and see how that goes. But yeah, I think it definitely should be on the plan. So the approved plans would have all the conditions.
Yeah, so I think we would, my suggestion is we have all the conditions on the approved plan. The question of whether we want a deed restriction for the 284 gallons per day, that's something for the board to discuss. Were there any other questions?
No, but so how would we want to word that in the conditions? Because if you're going to restrict like the usage to so many gallons a day, 220 gallons a day, do we want that as a condition, or as for commercial use only with no expansion?
I think Matt you had sent a letter with the things that we required.
Yeah.
So we have it documented in writing, so that letter the engineer can use the wording from that to.
But if we were going to approve today, would we need to have that in the conditions today?
We would need to outline, yes. The exact wording can be a little different. So, any other thoughts? How do people feel about whether we do a separate deed restriction for the flow maximum to 84 gallons per day, or just it's already on the plan? It's designed for that, but I'm not sure it's written as a maximum.
It is. They changed it for me too.
Okay. Is
so
that sufficient?
I mean, just speaking from my experience, typically, you know, the deed restriction would be, I mean, we talk about the flow, which I think is the biggest thing here.
Yeah.
And then the deed restriction could be written in a manner that would restrict the flow. And then anything else that, you know, no upgrade, you know, no increase in flow, which I think is generally kind of insinuated with the fact that there's no increase on the 284 gallons a day.
Right.
So that's typically, you know, with the deed restriction, like me as an engineer, generally, I'm gonna look at the deed, make sure what it references, and if there's a restriction, that's where I'm gonna look.
Okay.
Go into a design plan. I mean, I think generally everything is there.
Okay.
But again, it's up to the board completely, and it's your recommendation. So I can just tell you my experience. Typically, the restriction
Okay.
with the deed reference on the deed reference is enough. But that being said, it's up to you.
Okay.
It's your comfort level.
Yeah. Deed restriction is fine with me. I didn't know. Thank you for clarifying how
Just
to work.
The flow, like you said, the flow on the deed restriction is fine, but I think we really, you know, this, they could still expand, if we would just say we limited it to the 284 gallons a day. We have to be explicit about expanding bathrooms or expanding the business, because they could still put in bathrooms and theoretically at some, point be under 284 gallons a day. So I think it all has to be spelled out, restricting the flow and restricting all the other things on this list. Whether it's all in the same place or two different places, it just all needs to be spelled out.
Okay, so we've already spelled it out in the letter, follow-up letter from that meeting, so it's just a question of form. So it seems like if we want to do it once, we do it in the deed restriction, and we can refer to an attachment which specifies all those
They
things.
can use that as an exhibit for an attachment, that letter, and have that attached. And I think that would be a
Good
foolproof
way to
way.
do it, yeah.
Okay,
And the concern is the proximity to the river and our concern about impact on in the river too. So.
well, this is an upgrade, I mean, it's repairing, and it will be D9, which is sort of the best
It is.
case, we can expect, because you can't, if it's an existing use, you can't restrict it in a way that wouldn't allow it to continue to be used. So,
The other thing I wanted to mention, I'm sure you already are aware, but the Conservation Commission did approve this as well, since the last meeting.
okay.
So this was approved by the Conservation Commission.
Okay,
So I'm thinking that we put the gallons per day restriction in the, as part of the deed restriction, and then someone as a belt and suspenders, that all the other restrictions could go into a revised plan. Right?
no, I think what,
Or we're gonna do everything in the deed restriction?
that's what, Niles
Everything.
recommended,
Okay.
We
is
could refer to
use
this
that
letter
letter
as an
as
So
an
refer to the
exhibit
letter?
A.
Okay.
Yeah.
that-
If you can write it up like that,
Yeah,
they'll do it, then
subject
that's great.
to
Okay.
the conditions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be up to the attorney to do that. Essentially, they would come up with the language and how they're gonna do it exactly, but my recommendation is that way there's no, issues with transferring conditions and what have you. It's
Right.
literally
Right.
spelled out right there.
Okay.
And I guess I was only saying, just from thinking from a due diligence part, I still think it would be helpful to put it all in the plan as well. So that someone came to the office and said, what's going on, with this, not everybody would automatically go to the registry of deeds,
Right.
so that someone could come into the office and know what it is looking at the plan.
How about we just put in a condition, like a note, refer to the Board of Health letter of da-da-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, where would you want me to put that on the
Maybe under the
plan?
general notes.
Yeah, the general notes.
I feel like
Well,
it's gonna
you
get
have a section
lost
that says-
under the important notes.
Yeah, so you have important notes of the Board of Health, yeah, we'll just put it in there.
Yeah.
But that way you don't have to spell everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Referring
fine.
to the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
document, and
Yeah. That's good.
that might,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
wasn't, I'm learning more, and that you start with the deed
Yes.
as a place for information, so that's
Yeah.
helpful to know.
I just want us to be in a position, if something should come up in the future, we can say, it was easy to find out, before you went and did X, it was in the plans, you could have looked there.
Okay.
That's what
But I
I'm
think
concerned
by
about.
referencing that letter, that,
Yeah, so whatever you think is, the most efficient way to do it, I'm fine with that.
But is the board comfortable with voting on tonight? I mean, I'm only
Yes.
asking,
Yes,
voting
yes.
on tonight,
Yeah.
with the idea that I get
It would
get
be-
your office the.
approval would be conditioned upon an updated plan with that note and reference, the deed
Yeah.
restriction, and I don't know what other conditions.
And somebody could just get back to me about, because I don't know if Jim Aguirre reached out to DEP about the public water supply.
Okay.
Just kind of gonna circle back on that.
Yeah, well, that can be one of the conditions. So we won't sign off on moving forward until we have that
That's
answer.
gonna take.
Okay, does,
Yeah, I'm not sure how to motion.
So do you have a
approval,
date in the
so-
letter? Okay, so, all right, well, I will throw up a draft motion.
Okay,
Thank you.
So I move to approve the plan for Rory Courtier, is that how you-
to,
Correct. Yes.
Close enough.
Close enough?
Very good.
At 488 Old County Road, a commercial repair on a plan dated 4/8/25.
But updated 7/8/25.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. That's true.
okay. We're gonna get it again, but subject to, well, I received COMCON review. I don't know if there's a stamp on the plan for that, but.
There
Yes,
was.
there was.
Okay, so forget that. So, subject to approval of a sieve analysis, a local upgrade approval, allowing a setback to the site well from 100 feet to 84.9 feet, and a deed restriction that would include a limitation on the flow, the septic flow to be 284 gallons a day, and conditions as set forth in a letter from the board dated May 13th, 2025, setting out additional operating restrictions and engineering restrictions, and a hold harmless agreement, 3 years of well testing? No? Yes?
Well, it's
It was
Less than 100.
less than 100 feet then, yes.
3 years,
Yes.
well.
A hold harmless agreement and a, how do you want to say it, what the DEP is doing, approval of a public water supply?
Well, yeah, somebody's gonna reach out to DEP to see if they're gonna require one, or if it's even possible.
Okay.
It may not even be possible to get one there,
Okay.
in which case it'll get bounced back to us to make the decision.
Okay. The condition being, further inquiry to DEP on a public water supply?
Sure.
Okay.
all right.
And an updated plan with the note.
Right, and an updated plan with the notes reflecting the maximum allowed flow of 284 gallons and the restrictions set forth in the May 13th, 2025 letter from the board.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the plan on those, based on those conditions. Bob, did you get them all?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Yes. Then I can call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna call a 450 discussion for 266 Howland Road with Len Potter. This is to discuss the number of bedrooms and capacity of existing leach. Hello, Mr. Potter again.
This is for 622?
No, this is for 266.
266, I'm sorry, I'm off. All right, the situation is this, Len Potter, Westport Environmental Design, and I'm here for Charles Henley, who owns 266 Howland Road. And Title V inspector did an inspection. Has he done one recently? 2022 was the one I know was done,
Right.
but that would have been expired. But regardless, the system, I repaired the system in 1982. And in 1982, a contractor's plan was acceptable to the board for repairs. And we didn't do perk tests on sites. We went out with the agent, we dug a test pit, looked at the soil, and knowing in general what the area perked at, we assigned a rate to it and designed a septic system based on that rate. Now, the water table and the soil and the perk rate is good here. We thought it was good soil. I designed an 18-foot by 45-foot wide leach field, and it comes out to, I forget how many, 810 square feet, I believe. And in 2022, the system failed, Title V inspection. So the owner called me and I said, no problem. I went down and did a perk test in anticipation of doing the repair. When I was there, I dug back into the leach field to see what things were, and the leach field was clean. The D-box was working at a more than normal level, and no sign of standing above the outlets, and the stone on top was just as clean as can be. The home's only used from June until September. And it's not, I haven't seen a lot of people there. I'm sure they have parties on weekends or whatever. But the man wants to sell the house, and it's lo and behold, I guess the Title V inspector claimed it's a 4-bedroom house. I guess the Board of Health went there. Did you guys go there? Did you go there and do a bedroom inspection?
No, it was, this is the one where
He put 4 bedrooms?
he put, 4 bedrooms with a 3-bedroom design or vice versa, but there was nothing to reference that with.
Right.
We weren't sure how the Title V inspector came up with his calculations. We
Right,
talked
because
about
the
this
design
last week.
plan from 82 says 3 bedrooms, right?
What is it?
The contractor plan from 1982 says 3
I
bedrooms.
did that, yeah.
Right,
But
and
see,
so,
bedrooms weren't a big thing back then, so you just did what you...
well, this inspection form says, based on a design plan, he says it's a 4-bedroom design.
No, the design plan, you've got it in your file,
Okay,
and it says 3 bedrooms right on it. I looked at it with Matt the other day.
so that, the Title V is not accurate.
No,
but-
so
okay.
anyway, the Title V inspector, somehow he claimed it's 4 bedrooms, and he did his bedroom count. Regardless, the perk test I got in 2022 was 115, and if you take the 810 square feet times the loading rate for a 15-minute per inch perk rate, which is 0.56 gallons per square foot, you come out with 459 gallons a day. I did the calculation.
Yeah.
And therefore, the system is actually large enough to support the 4-bedroom house. So that's my plea on behalf of Mr. Henley.
My question is, if he's gonna sell
He's gonna
the
sell
product,
it.
he would need to do another Title V inspection.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought he had done one already, and it came back with a 4-bedroom house, and that, I don't know, don't ask me, and the plan said 3. So when you looked at the old plan, you saw 3, and then he had 4. But it needs another Title V inspection.
Okay, so the question is, what exactly is your question?
Okay, I've got a plan, original plan that says 3 bedrooms, but the house is actually a 4. So my question is, would the septic system, the size that it is actually sized by today's standards for a 4-bedroom home?
Okay,
So therefore, in my opinion, it's past Title V and it's fine.
okay, but we don't know until, it has to go through another Title V inspection.
No, it has to go through another time, but I'm
Okay.
certain it would pass.
So if it passes, your question is, if it passes,
For a 4-bedroom,
it would qualify as a
it was
4-bedroom
qualified for a
design?
4-bedroom, that's my question.
Okay. Matt, any thoughts?
It's a system from 1982. It's not how we size things today, so it's a little weird for me to, say it's okay, but if Len says it can accommodate 449 gallons a day or whatever he said in here, then, and it passes, then I guess it would be okay.
Well, you're using the current LTAR loading calculations.
Yes.
So if the dimensions are right, in terms of the 18 feet by 45 feet, and and the flow is right, and the LTAR rate is current.
But it all comes down to if it passes or not.
Yes, if it passes,
Right.
yes, yeah,
So
yeah,
all that would be okay as long as
Yeah.
it passes.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And then if it doesn't pass,
I guess we'll have another discussion.
Then we
with
start
Len.
all over again.
we
Yeah.
start all
Right.
over again, okay.
Right.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you.
I know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but I'm trying to push work to the side and it's not anymore.
We're, yeah.
And I really think, the house, the man is elderly, that's why he's selling the house. And he was there in '82, and I don't see a big party house there. And I think it's used conservatively, the system indicates what it is. I don't think it's that bad,
Okay.
okay?
Well, we're waiting, to see what the
Right.
Title V
All right,
inspection
that's
says.
all I'm asking.
But it doesn't really seem that much, different that someone who builds in you know, just builds excess capacity into their system in a way, you know, makes it bigger.
Well, we always made it bigger. so-
Yeah, so now, and so that's what,
Yeah, you know, my greatest argument, not to hold you up, is 1 or 2 perks, a very small system for a 2 or 3 bedroom house.
yeah,
And I like to make it bigger, because the faster perk rates are the ones that fail first.
yeah.
Because
Oh.
you need more square footage.
Right,
And,
right.
and, but Matt keeps slapping me in the hand and won't let me do it.
It keeps a good eye on people that they have to come into the board before they just throw another bedroom in, so it keeps the process in line.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're
just say
saying.
bigger than
Uh-huh.
small.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good luck with that
Thank you,
perk
Bob.
test, and I
Thanks.
hope you don't have work to do.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, we're returning to board member updates for, Phil, updates.
Okay, so, you know, this relates to the Pine Ridge situation, in which kind of the status is, we've gotten a written commitment from the applicant to incorporate D-Night, which he'd been saying, and I think it'd be realistic, the next meeting is on the 30th, that we would request that be placed in as a condition of the permit. So that it would apply not only to the applicant, but anybody who, if they sold the property, it would apply to everybody. So that's, so that's a good thing. I think that we resolved the issue of the 100-foot setback and accepted the 50-foot, the 50-foot setback in part because of their made a commitment to do D-Night,
Right.
Which was consistent with, what the bylaw, which then became our regulation, did. And I think that where we are now, which relates to the Section 7 perk rate, loading rate issue, is that the applicant was continuing to push for the waiver of that, kind of a blanket waiver of that, and going up to 40 from our limit of 30. Inches per minute, or minutes per inch, I guess is a better way to say it. And so then I proposed that, coming out of the discussion that happened at the working meeting, that we set it up so that if they could fit the existing system that they had proposed in the site plan, going up to 30 minutes an inch, then that would solve everybody's problem, because they wouldn't need a waiver. But if they went beyond 30 minutes an inch and they had to relocate, then this other process would kick in, where they would, in this case, with just the board having jurisdiction, look at various places on the property and do more than one, do 1 or 2 different perk tests, and that there would be an obligation, subject to maximum practicality, to pick the rate that was closest to 30. So that's what I proposed as a condition. And what their response came back just very recently was a variation on that, which was to say, okay, give us a waiver for the present location. So if their present location would accommodate a leach field that was larger than, that was that had a perk rate greater than 30, but it could still fit into that location, that would be acceptable, and that would be waived. So rather than having the existing site be limited to 30, it could go as high as 40, but within the confines of the existing area. And then the second part of it, the second variation from what I had proposed, was the process would be the same in terms of looking for a new site, but instead of it being a decision by the board as to what site would be the final location, that it would go back to the ZBA. And in some sort of, and so that the ZBA would then, would make the determination as the extent to which the waiver would be implemented. So if we thought that, okay, there's a site at 35 that we, the board, said that's the one that we should go, that you should go to, and if they disagreed and said, no, we want this site that's at 40, and then the CBA would make the decision. And so that's where we are on it. One of the things that I did, which I think I sent to Matt, I think I sent to that, is once I got this letter, I, through the secretary of the ZBA, petitioned the chair to require the applicant to create create maps with looking at the existing site and what a constructed landfill at the 1 inch in 30 minutes and 1 inch in 40 minutes would look like. Because I thought that would give would take these abstract numbers and say, well, it's like, Cinderella and the Three Sisters. Can you actually really fit this thing? Like, what's the limitation? How much? Because if it's like, oh, well, we could go to, the applicant. If the applicant says, yeah, well, we look at the 30 and gee, it won't even fit a 30-inch one. So there's no issue. Oh, okay, well, yeah, there's a little bit of wiggle room there, and well, are we going to fight between 30? So it would make it real to the people there and also to the public. And so that's what I requested. I don't know, but I don't think it would be difficult to do. So, and my final thought about it is that I think given the preponderance of, that essentially the burden of proof as to whether or not if the ZBA failed to give this waiver and the applicant appealed, I think it would be, based on my very limited understanding of it, and it's probably something that the ZBA council will look at and advise the ZBA on, is what's the likelihood that a denial of the waiver would be successful on appeal. And would that, as the applicant suggested, also give him the opportunity to say, well, we're also not going to commit to a denitrification for all 38 homes. So I think getting a commitment to do denitrification is an important victory for us from where it started. And I think it's more difficult to make the case that the difference between 30 minutes per inch or 40 minutes per inch is one that we will say, you know, presents the level of threat to the public health and the environment that would be successful on appeal. So I think there's room to compromise about it, and I think that's what will happen at the next hearing. We'll have to see.
Can I just ask for clarification? You're referencing 40 minutes per inch.
I'm sorry.
Isn't?
It's 60, right? Yeah, okay, it's 60. I apologize. Yeah, it's 60 minutes per.
Just want to make sure that
Yeah,
we're.
yeah, it's 60 minutes per. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
and one other postscript to just mention to Matt is that I'm also asking this for the reserve area as well, because the reserve area is going to have to accommodate whatever this is in the reserve area. That was part of the mapping part, because the reserve area is within some closer proximity to wetlands and the 50-foot setback. So I don't know if they went as high as 60, that it would trip the 50-foot setback requirement. Because I think we looked at it and it was like, I forget, an acre or an acre and a half.
It was quite large, and it would, the 60 inch range in its current location, I think, would encroach on the wetlands.
And they seem to acknowledge it. So somewhere they may have looked at this and said, you know, we can fit somewhere between, you know, whatever more than 30 at the current location. Not as much as 60, but, you know, somewhere in there. And then that's what I was hoping these maps would indicate.
okay.
So-
I appreciate that you're trying to help them be smart about their planning. A concern I have is that the PERC failed 60 minutes per inch in that location in February. So,
Right, well, so they have to go back and, I mean, this is all part of the, they're gonna have to go back and test under, so they're looking to get out of the ZBA process and move on to arguably, or, you know, in theory, coming to us and saying, okay, now we have to do a PERC test, and then we would go out and do, you know, and that's clear that they would want to do the PERC test there, and it would be all formalized.
So when they go out and do the perk test, I know that we're gonna want more than the standard amount of holes, so, for such a large system. So, I believe it was the ZBA's consultant, Brian Dunn,
Mm-hmm.
who said that the standard is you go each corner and then the middle, so 5 holes.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend that for the primary and the reserve area, and then it would be designed on you know, by first purpose.
Yeah, but I don't think the ZBA, and so I don't think the ZBA gets into that level of detail. And that's what's interesting about coming back to them and actually deciding what it is. I don't know that the ZBA or that the ZBA's council will recommend that the proposal that if that the ZBA make a determination as to where the, you know, SAS should be located, because that's really a state regulatory thing. And the way the, you know, so I don't know how that's going to happen. They may, you know, the chair or members of the board may say, like, that's for you guys to work out with the Board of Health, which then, you know, might affect whatever the condition is. I don't know.
So, I think the key things we want is a condition requiring DNEG as they've committed in the 5 holes, 5 perks per location. what other key, I mean, I understand it would be nice if they did all this planning so that we wouldn't have to speculate about things that may be off the table anyways, but they're working off a plan that we know right now doesn't work, so they don't seem like they're gonna be, you can lead a horse to water, can't make them drink. I don't think, we've been trying to make them, drink, and so I think from the ZBA perspective, we need to keep this short and sweet. We won't, include the D-night, the 5 perks per location. What other things do you think are essential that we would want to be conditions?
Well, I'm hung up because I don't think that, I hear what Matt's saying about it, and part of it is I'm speculating because I don't know what the rules of the road are for the ZBA setting permit conditions related to state regulations which are, enforced by us. So for them it's usually we're going to waive or not going to waive. And so because I thought that on this particular issue, that if the only option was waive or not waive, they were not going to waive. I mean, they were going to waive it. Excuse me, they were going to waive it. And so then I proposed the conditions that I thought would get us what we wanted, which is 30 at the existing location, and then if they go off-site, as close to 30 as you can get. And I must, rather than just rejecting that, they came back with a variation of that, and which would require which would allow them more
leeway,
leniency or expand, ability to go beyond 30 at the current location, and then but would still more or less implement the searching for another location. And it seemed to me that if something came up, what they're asking for, which I don't even know is if it's allowed, but this lawyer is someone who's worked with the ZBA. And one thing I did realize coming out of the other hearings is you can keep coming back to the ZBA and changing your plan for a long time. That if there was an impasse between the Board of Health and the applicant as to which site to pick, that we'd go back to ZBA as the judge, and the judge would make the final call. And we would have a chance to present our case there. And so I'm just saying, I don't know, I don't have an answer, but that's where it stands. But what I don't think is that we would say, well, as part of the condition, you, the ZBA, has to require the applicant to do 5 tests. I think Matt can say, look, that's the rule that we're setting. If you want to do the test, it's going to take this. I don't think they're going to care that much about that. Because we make that determination.
Okay. And that's under Title V.
Yeah, I think, that, they may say, well, is that the standard thing to do? You make everybody do 5? And then it would get into, okay, well.
They can appeal.
We don't, because we don't really have, we never had a project that, at least in my time, that was this large.
Yeah, you could say, well,
But
you've had
the
problems.
option to require additional perk tests is under Title V, not just our local regulation.
It's Title V.
Yeah, no, it's a Title V thing, that's what I mean, so it's like,
Then we get
okay,
jurisdiction,
we
then
have,
we should
right,
be
we have,
in- Okay, you're
we
right.
have the discretion to do this.
Okay.
I don't think the ZBA is gonna say, no, I'm gonna overrule
okay.
that and say it's not right.
No, okay,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking of the local regulation.
No,
If it's
there's
a
no,
Title
yeah,
V,
yeah.
Then we have
doesn't-
discretion, and if they don't like what we decide, they can appeal to DEP or Superior Court or whatever. the
Yeah, we're gonna
options are.
say,
doesn't
okay,
go
well, we're
back
not
to
gonna give you,
ZBA.
I mean, I think that they can, I think that they can go back, but it's not, it's kinda like, how big a deal are you gonna make out of digging 5 holes versus 3 holes versus 1 hole? I mean, they're there, they've got the machine, and they're just gonna dig the holes and pour water in it. You know, I mean, it's not like saying,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, so take the 5 per holes thing off the table. What we had said to that ZBA, at this point, they're meeting next week, right? Is that right?
yes. Mhm.
Okay. We've given them our best guidance, and it's really between their lawyer and the ZBA, I think. I don't know that we can have any more influence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can push them on, right now, they've made it open-ended as to just let us go, you know, grant us the waiver for the existing site, or the existing location. But I think as a practical matter, we're gonna be able to compress that down through the maps, I hope, and say, well, look, the practical limit of that is X amount, you know, based on the numbers. And so maybe you just leave it at that. It's more,
But isn't that something that's gonna happen in front of us, not in front of the ZBA?
yes, but we're gonna get, because it's like this, you know, this geometry problem, you know, which is you've got this much space, and you just plug into those numbers and see how big the dimensions of the system is. It ought, you know, the engineers ought to be able to work out how big it is. You know, maybe it can, you know, take 60, but we don't think it can, so. And that would just end it there, you know. So if it turns out that when they actually go out and do the perks, they get a result that is above that at that site and the reserve areas, then the more lengthy, complicated process of finding a substitute site and how that works out is more complicated. And I don't know what the
But that's gonna be before us, not before the
exactly.
ZBA.
That's well
So-
under our rule it will be, but under what they're proposing, if there was I think it would mean if there was a dispute between us, then they would come back to the ZBA. And the way that I've written it is that kind of following, I think, what you take from Title V in a way, which is, this is what you should do, you know, to the maximum practicable extent. And so if they said, okay, well, you know, here's a site, you know, at 40, and here's a site at 35. But because of the distance of the 40 site, it's twice as expensive for us to build the SAS here than it would be to go to the, you know, so we're saying, hey, 35, you got to do it here. And he says, well, I can do a 41, and it's half as expensive. Or I don't have to build 2 pumps to pump it up to get to there. And then we said, you know, 35 or nothing. then I think that they want to say, we're going to go back to the ZBA because there's its maximum practicable. At least that's how I think it would work. It would be a negotiation, and I think we would be reasonable. Like, you know, like the upgrade rule is, which is, you know, be realistic about it and don't make people spend enormous amount of money